Thank you very much, Chairman. The Honorable Mudavadi, EGH Prime Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya, and also the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, the KRA Board Chairman and Directors, KRA Commissioner General, the staff of the Kenya Revenue Authority, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Yeah, it's my pleasure to join you at this 2024 KRA Annual Summit, an important event that is part of the Taxpayers Month activities. During the Taxpayers Month, we always come together to appreciate the work and self-sacrifice of the patriotic citizens who dutifully pay their taxes, which fund our nation's development. One of the core objectives of taxation is to ensure sustainability of economic development. A country's economic progress is directly tied to the growth of its resources. And to address the resource inadequacies, governments must mobilize funds that facilitate rapid capital accumulation. To this end, ladies and gentlemen, establishing strong bonds between tax administrators, citizens and stakeholders is very crucial. We must build tax systems that enhance adequate domestic revenue mobilization, and citizens should have a voice in the decisions that affect them, including the tax policy making process. I think we are alive to that recently, when the citizens felt that they were not involved in making decisions on tax policy, we know the outcome of that. It is not long ago. So inclusive and impactful participation enriches policy making by incorporating diverse perspectives and harnessing collective knowledge. This not only strengthens public understanding but also promotes trust in our institutions. It is therefore essential to institutionalize participatory and deliberate processes that align with the respective democracies. I therefore thank Kenya Revenue Authority for establishing this platform to engage our key stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, the timing of this summit is particularly opportune as the government seeks to implement initiatives and policies that enhance revenue collection, ensuring we can meet our demands for efficient public services and achieve our broader economic agenda. It also comes at a critical time when the government has just commenced preparation of the financial year 2025-2026 and the medium-term budgets. To fulfill our fiscal goals, we must embrace efficiency in domestic revenue mobilization. The government is committed to implementing both tax administration and tax policy measures to raise additional revenue. I'll speak to that shortly, because when I finish, I must make some off-the-cuff remarks. I have mentioned before that I don't like much written speech, but sometimes it is necessary. So let me finish my written speech and take just about 2-3 minutes, if you allow me, Your Excellency, to make off the cuff, because that is when I talk or speak genuinely. So that applause means anyway, let me leave it there. But among the measures, Your Excellency, that we are adopting is the adoption of the medium-term revenue strategy. Under the medium-term revenue strategy, we aim to strengthen the policy dimension of our fiscal consolidation process, targeting the East African Community's convergence criteria of a fiscal deficit of 3% of GDP. As a matter of fact, Your Excellency, our budgets, our final budgets in this term of the administration, we must have not more than 3% as fiscal deficit. But if we can be ambitious enough, we can have a balanced budget for 2027-2028. This strategy proposes several initiatives to enhance revenue mobilization, including tax-based expansion, modernization of tax legislation, and the consolidation of tax procedures. We will continue intensifying debt collection efforts, utilizing data to improve compliance, and enhancing intelligence gathering to close revenue loopholes. Additionally, our medium-term strategy promotes investment by removing market distortions through the rationalization of tax expenditures. For instance, it proposes to reduce the corporation tax or corporate tax from 30% to 25%. That is where we are heading. 30%, 25%. And we hope that the benefit of that will be passed to the economy by employing more people in the corporate world. Alongside gradual reductions in VAT, if possible, we should reduce our VAT from 16% to 14%, and other tax rates. So the government's policy is not to increase taxes. I want to repeat that again. It is to reduce taxes. But that will only be possible if we expand the tax base and we become more efficient in our tax collection. And we become also efficient in the usage of our resources. So those are three things that we must do. One, expand the tax base so that many of us pay taxes, and then be efficient in collecting the same, and be efficient in using the same taxes that we collect from Kenyans. The government remains committed to our fiscal consolidation policy that aims to reduce fiscal deficits and debt accumulation while safeguarding priority government programs and social spending. Despite these efforts, we must highlight the issue of tax malpractices, which continue to hinder our ability to secure the financial resources necessary for structural transformation and sustainable growth. Illicit financial flows, including money laundering, tax evasion, and corruption, pose significant challenges to tax administrations, especially in developing countries like ours. We must therefore prioritize international policies that empower tax administrations to combat these issues and leverage international tax frameworks to address illicit financial flows effectively. Furthermore, the role of technology in domestic revenue mobilization cannot be overstated. Embracing technology is essential for addressing modern age challenges our tax administrations face. It is only through innovation that we can enhance efficiency and effectiveness in our revenue efforts, mobilization efforts. And as I conclude, I want to reiterate the National Treasury's commitment to supporting KRA in its undertaking towards domestic revenue mobilization and economic development. I've shared with the chairman and also with the CG that the month of November I will be engaging a little bit much more with Kenya Revenue Authority to just see how to get this authority to be able to realize its full potential, because I believe that there are a few things that we need to do to realize full potential. Before I read the final paragraph, which is basically saying goodbye, now let me, Your Excellency, if you allow me, just make a few comments off the cuff. Our economy is very robust, the Kenyan economy. In fact, it is amazing. So the question we want to be asking is how come we have challenges in an economy that is growing at more than 5% per annum, which is above the average in this region, and it is above the global average, and not just above, way above the global average. We have an inflation rate today of 3.6%, 4.4% in July, 4.3% in July, 4.4% in August, and now 3.6% in September, which is way within the inflationary rate as a country we feel is good for economic growth of this nation. 2.5% up to 7.5%. We have more than 4 months cover, forex cover, actually 4.6, which is one of the best that any economy would have. Our currency is fairly stable. in the region of 128 to 131% of our compared to the US dollar. So we have all fundamentals working, apart from just two things. One is our public debts, which is proving to be difficult to sustain. And also, the other issue is the interest rates, which have been high and therefore crowding out the private sector, which we can balance off now with the inflation. With the inflation coming down, I think now we have the luxury, the latitude to at least lower the interest rates. And with the Fed rates coming down, I think central bank is likely to lower the interest rate so that we can have more uptake of credit by the private sector. So where is the problem? The problem is that we are not collecting tax that we should collect. Not because Kenyans don't want to pay tax. We are probably overtaxing a few Kenyans and leaving majority of us not paying their fair share of tax. If you look at VAT, Your Excellency, and I mentioned this when we had a cup of tea, we have the potential of collecting at least 6% of GDP as VAT, but we are collecting only 3.8%. Because tax visibility is a challenge. We are developing a system which must enhance tax visibility. We want to see those Kenyans, not to harass you. We must also make tax payment very friendly and enjoyable. And we must speak to taxpayers that for you to do business, the single largest buyer of goods and services is the government. Give us the tax, we buy from you competitively, and you do your business, make money, give us tax, we buy again from you. I think that is the spirit. So VAT is a challenge. Rental income tax, we are only collecting 17 billion per year, yet we have the potential of collecting at least 100 billion per year. Rental income tax. Many of us here, Kenyans, we own property and we know the story. We are not paying rental income tax. That's 7.5%. If you are genuine with yourself, just ask yourself, do you really pay the rental income tax? You are not, because the system we have in place is not able to see those who are supposed to pay this tax. Visibility is low. We are not saying you will go back to you pay other months. We want you to start paying. So if you are not paying out there, please start paying. I'm not exempting you from paying the previous ones, but if you can start paying from today, I would be comfortable as John Mbadi. Finally is personal income tax. Personal income tax. Now when I speak to this, many people will not love me, they will not like me. But the truth of the matter is this. Pay as you earn, which is payment of salary, tax from employment income, from labor income, is perfectly okay. We are raising revenue very well. But those professionals, and we have many of them, and making huge amounts of money, running into millions. If you ask how much we collect, it is very low. Doctors, lawyers, fellow accountants, we are not paying what we should pay as tax. So the system that we are developing would help us see you so that we can have a conversation. Not to harass you. Once we see you, we'll tell you we have seen you. So can we now discuss how you can pay the taxes? Customs tax, again, CG and Chairman. Our system, you call it ICMS. It is not working. That is the truth. Your staff will not tell you, they are telling me. It is not working. So we must have a system that is working. iTax, outdated. It is a system that is outdated. I will tell you, this is the feedback I'm getting, and I'm relaying it to you because I have a mouth to tell you. Your staff will not tell you, they will tell you, boss, we are trying. But what they are saying behind the scenes is that this is a system that is outdated, it is not working. And many more. Recs, you know. How come the DRC, the cargo going to DRC is more than Kenya? Southern Sudan. How can they consume more goods? The cargo to South Sudan is more than Kenya, a bigger economy in the region. It's not true. Our systems, Your Excellency, are not working. We must fix them. So I know the phase 1 is on of this digitization process. We must conclude it quickly and start with phase 2. Finally, even if we do all these systems, Chairman, you improve your corporate governance, without looking at the staff, we are not going anywhere. We must look at the staff and the staff welfare. Your Excellency, this is a commitment that I'm giving, and I know you will help me push it even to the cabinet during the budgeting. We must increase the budget of KRA with not less than 30% in this coming financial year, so that we can sort out some of the problems. When I hear that the staff at KRA can go to hospital and their children or their loved ones are detained because we cannot pay bills, because the service provider has not been paid, it doesn't make sense. How do you expect someone to collect money and bring to you when he has a child or she has a sick child in hospital? It's not possible. So we must feed this cow. I said it at my vetting interview, that this cow is not properly fed, yet we want to milk the cow. So we must feed this cow. And my final remark on that issue of staff, most of your senior staff, Mr. Chairman, are on acting. A strategy must be developed quickly. Maybe 2 months or so, if it can work. Do interviews. Conduct interviews. Get these people, if they are qualified, confirm them to those positions. If they are not qualified, get qualified people to occupy those positions. You cannot hold people on acting capacity forever. This position must be filled competitively and must be properly filled. So that is an engagement that I'm going to have with Kenya Revenue Authority to make sure that Human Resource Department, you put up advert. If you want to do it internally, I don't know, based on your human resource manual, make sure that these positions where people are acting are filled competitively. Otherwise, I would have said more today. I didn't want to raise a lot of issues. We are on Taxpayers Week. The others we will discuss internally with the chairman and the Commissioner General and the staff. So, Your Excellency, without much ado, I want to just say that I urge all participants to engage in meaningful discussion that will enable us to transform our tax system, enhance trade facilitation, and explore new techniques for improving our efforts. And I hope by the end of today, we'll have, or the end of this summit, we'll have a communique, which then we would use to hold ourselves to account. With those, are there few remarks? No. With those many remarks, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to now welcome the Prime Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Mudavadi, to come forward and address